In this video, we are going to talk about the time value of money. Because time is money. We're going to illustrate this with Global Atomic, a uranium miner. When you go to the presentation, then you will see an NPV value. Okay, and people assume that this is the value of the company. I will tell you that that's not correct, because the NPV takes into account that a project is in construction and going into production several years later. So the NPV that you see on the presentation is this here. But before going into construction, there are still a lot of years where the project is doing nothing, because you need to do infill drilling, you need to do feasibility studies, you need to do financing, you need to do permitting, etc. So all those years are just lost, and time is money. We're going to see that in our NPV calculation. So here you have Global Atomic's NPV calculation. As you can see here, all-in sustaining cost around 22. We have 12 years of mine life at 4.5 production, 4.5 million pounds. That's still a typo. So this is the capex. If it gets financed, then we can go into production in 2026. Some interest payments, tax exemptions, taxes to be paid, royalties on the revenue, etc. And you get an NPV 10 discount rate of around 1 billion, taking into account all these cash flows that come in. Up until 2037. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years of production. Okay. So 1 billion NPV, that's what you see here. Current enterprise value is 300 million. So very cheap. This can easily double, triple in value. When you look at their NPV calculation, it's 456, NPV 8 at $50 uranium. Okay, we can check that. 50 NPV 8, and you get the NPV value around 450 million, as you can see here. So it's all correct. And at $70 to $80 uranium, this NPV changes to 1 billion. So that's double the amount at 50 uranium. So if it goes to 80 uranium, then NPV doubles. Currently, we are at 70 uranium, so let's use 70 uranium. NPV is 800 million. So there is still upside for Global Atomic. Double, triple is possible. Now, why is Global Atomic not double, triple right now? That's only because of the time value of money. We don't know if this project will actually go in production yet, because we have problems in Niger, and that could have an impact on the project timelines. Is it going into production in 2026 or will it be delayed? So look at this 1 billion NPV at 10% discount rate. Now let's see what happens when this project gets delayed by 5 years. So what I'm going to do is we take all these cash flows and I'm going to delay it by 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Paste it here. This is going to 0. And what do we get? We get an NPV that has dropped by 40%. 40%. Why? Because time is money. That's the clue of this video. When you delay a project, you are losing time. Because for 5 years you will do nothing and time is money. So time is money. You get money normally in 2026 to 2030. But instead of that, you now get money 5 years later. So money that's 5 years later is worth less than money that you get right now. And you can see that here in the NPV chart, which uses these numbers. So this is just shifted to the right. You get the same amount of cash flow in, but it's just delayed by 5 years. So your 1 billion is now only 600 million, 40% lower. So if this happens, if you get a delay of 5 years, which is possible, you never know what will happen in Niger, then you get a price cut of 40%. So now you only see maximum a double in the share price, while before we had 1 billion, so a triple. Okay, so the moral of the story is take into account delays, take into account that projects need to get financing, permitting, infill drilling, all of that. And this has a significant impact on the cash flows that come in. NPV was 1 billion and got cut down to only 600 million. Okay, but even then, with 5 years delay, I think Global Atomic is still very cheap, even when you get a delay in Niger of 5 years. However, let's take a look at what happens when uranium goes down. So we are going to put this back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 0. $600 million. But now let's see what happens when we use 70 uranium. Well, actually, yeah, I need to calculate this first, of course. So let's put 70 uranium first. Okay, 70 uranium, 800 million NPV, and now we shift it 5 years. So this is going to be shifted to here, and this is going to be 0. So what happens now? Now it's only 500 million in NPV, because uranium is 70 now, and we have delayed it by 5 years, this project. So now it's not that great anymore, right? Not a lot of upside anymore. Maybe 30% upside at 70 uranium, which is, I think 70 uranium should be the right price in the long term. So, yeah, if Global Atomics project is delayed by 5 years and uranium is back to 70, then you can easily see that there is not that much upside, 30% upside. So take all of this into account. Very important. Timelines. Take into account that time is money. That's why I always like to buy companies that are already in production or about to go into production, because time is money. And you never know what will happen in 5 years from now. Maybe the prices go back down. So, yep, that's what I focus on producing companies. But okay, every investor has its own risk tolerance. If uranium stays at 80 and there are no delays in this project, production in 2026, then I think this is a great buy. And we should see a double in Global Atomic, back to all-time highs. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.